join the all-time greats and collect number 5 as I run you through the Fuso starting grid. There it is, Ford versus Holden at the front. Winterbottom against Lowndes. Row number 2, all BJR. They started on the front row in the previous race. It didn't go well for them. They'll want to turn it around. Jamie Whincup, 6 points. He has the championship lead now. Has Van Gisbergen next to him. Scotty Pye, big troubles for the Sargent Security Commodore. We'll keep you posted on how they're going with that. Chaz Mostert in position 9 with Will Davison, 4th in the championship, 10th. David Reynolds was having a little snooze there. He'll start from 11th. Garth Tander started his V8 supercar career here back in 1998. Since then, he's racked up 52 race wins. The last of that was yesterday. Todd Kelly and Tim Blanchard, position 17 and 18. As we take a look at Scott Pye back up to the front of the exit of pit lane. Tony D'Alberto and Russell Ingall, the enforcer, to start from 20th. He will not leave us wondering, that's for sure. And Murrow Engel with Jono Webb, Team Techno Darrell Lee, with Lee Holdsworth and Dean Fiore making up our 26 cars. We're down 2 after yesterday, car 34 and 22, and not taking part.
There's Scott Pye. They've had a look at that problem and resolved it in the garage and dispatched him to the end of the pit lane. Couple of things to update. Engine change for Michael Caruso. Gearbox change for James Moffat.
Yeah, and just so you know, look, there's Scotty Pye just right there, and you can hear the car running. They put a new starter motor in it. It has to start under its own power. Clearly not going to turn it off there. Not a bad thing starting from pit lane, let me tell you.
Yeah, and it is a pity because he won't get to enjoy his best qualifying position.
There's also Tim Edwards that was just parked behind Mark Larkham there. He obviously has an intense interest in the start of this race. He's right at the front row of the grid. He wants to watch very carefully. He's just alongside Mark Larkham and Scotty Pye.
He'll probably line up Frosty to make sure that he doesn't go over that line. First spot or the front row of the grid, obviously vital to make sure you park up properly. Very important start.
So a couple of things to watch. Obviously, how to Winterbottom and Lowndes fighting for this championship getaway. Jason Bright on the second row of the grid has had 2 very bad starts. Jamie Whincup on the 3rd row of the grid. He was behind Bright in the earlier race and had to zip around him and got off to a good start. So there's all those different dynamics at play at the start.
Yeah, Matt, and let's just have a look at them. So the guys are coming down the grid up. Now, first of all, you can see Tim Edwards. I can see Jeremy Moore. The engineers are here talking to their drivers. I'll start talking to them. Now, as they pull up here on the line, you can see they're still on and off, warming their tyres, warming their brakes, getting the heat transfer through. Now, they can come up. Look, their splitter will go past the line. There you go. They're allowed to put their wheels on the line. The splitter can go over. The front of the car can go over, but not the wheel, and they cannot let the car roll. Now, this is going to be the start, remember. This is all going to be about the start. You cannot give an inch, and neither of them have.
And they've got no room for error there, like a great pickup, because the wheel is right on the line. It can't go over it, so you can't make it move. You can see it's a downhill start. They use a line locker, so they effectively lock the brakes on and load the car up, spool the drivetrain against the line locker.
And that's what trapped Jason Bright for that previous start. He held the line locker, the brake, too long off the start, and then he ended up getting swamped.
That's the view from Jamie Whincup's car. He's got Bright in front of him again, this time on the other side of the track.
Green flag.
So this is a very big moment. Season 2013. Winterbottom from pole. Lowndes is next to him.
Bogged a bit, Lowndes. He got a very good jump, but it bogged in the secondary part of the start, Matt.
So Winterbottom will take the advantage into turn 1 as Whincup again makes a move straight off the start line. So a good job from car number 1. And he slots into 3rd. Cool so Lowndes leads the way from Winterbottom.
Lost a bit of ground as well. He dropped a couple of spots. Bit of shoving going on here now. Look, Whincup up the inside. He might grab another spot here, and he has.
This is lively. This is fast.
Look how much pace Jamie Whincup carried on the exit of turn 3.
And had a big moment. The car slid massively then on cold tyres. Van Gisbergen right out off the other side of the curb at 4. Oh, a touch up for Winterbottom. He might drop a spot here. Van Gisbergen and Winterbottom locking horns. Shane's actually fanned the throttle there and given him some room, which is a good move. Nice driving.
So a very bold move by Lowndes around the outside at turn 1 on Winterbottom. Significant move. Then the bold move around the outside for Whincup, and Whincup's down the inside. Teammates, that is as close as it gets. Wow. We want to be in that Red Bull garage right now.
It's an aggressive start for Whincup, isn't it? Off 5th, and now before the first lap is done, vying for the lead, and he's ranged right up onto the back of Lowndes.
Going soon, mate, into a rhythm. 20 minutes, go a long way.
Jeremy Moore, words of comfort for Lowndes. Look at Van Gisbergen, he's covering down the inside of the straight. He's got fellow Kiwi Coulthard on him, and Bright's on the outside here. This is a nail-biter.
Oh, that is as good as you'll ever see. Jason Bright round the outside at turn 1. That is very brave. Winterbottom's caught wide. He's lost more positions in all that. Sorry, Davison caught wide.
Whincup to the lead now. So Whincup gets around Lowndes and goes to the lead. No time at all to settle into a rhythm. They've just all come out swinging.
Look at the congestion here at 4. Whincup's got great pace. Lowndes looks like he's just got a little bit of a cold tyre struggle going at the moment. But how about this? They're everywhere.
They've been alongside each other for half a lap. All those guys are all the same group. The guy who did the really good job, he's just bolted now, is Bright, because he was around the outside of Van Gisbergen at turn 1.
Oh, David Reynolds crossed up with Mostert right behind him through the hayshed at turn 8. Caruso in there as well in the Nissan Altima in the Hornet, the yellow car. He's having a good run. He's 10th. But don't blink, because that can change in a heartbeat.
That is some of the best quality motor racing I've ever seen at this place in the early laps. That is wild stuff around the outside at turn 1.
Moffat on the inside.
And grabs a spot. So that moves James into 10th.
Wow.
Caruso back to 11th. Here's the gap at the lead. It's 0.29 of a second, and Frosty's in here as well.
This is 1, 2 and 3 in the championship. 1, 2 and 3 on the road.
And Lowndes' car there, the language from the back of it suggests that it's not nice. It's sliding. Here he is. He's going to drop a spot here. Sliding too much in the rear at the moment, Craig Lowndes.
That's a good move. Well done, Mark Winterbottom. Slight crisscross. He ran into the first apex, a little bit wide for Lowndes, and got down the inside without contact. Very, very good.
So Bright stabilised his position into 4th at the moment, trying to use the fresh air. But he's got Van Gisbergen hunting him as well. It's only a couple of car lengths, and look at that train behind. There are cars nose to tail, side by side. Imagine yourself buried further back in the pack there, trying to deal with all that. You've got to look all around you to understand what's going on. Try and keep your own race going, but not tangle in other people's disasters.
Frosty's got speed. Mark Winterbottom is coming now with a 3 or 4 car length gap over Lowndes through the hayshed up towards Whincup. So that gap at the moment's under a second. You can see it. We're on board there with Craig Lowndes using a huge amount of curb at MG on the inside. You can see the vibration. It's a Vallelunga curb. It's got lots of ridges in it. Same sort of curb on the outside there. He just has not got the pace at the moment, Crompo. Balance the car's nowhere near good enough.
To go, mate. 20 laps to go.
Wonder whether it'll come to him, whether it's tyre pressures, whether it's
struggling a little bit with the rear, but it'll come to us.
So there you heard Craig. He's talking about the rear, which we observed. We saw those onboard shots and the stuff we saw from other cars at the back of the 888 entry. Red Bull Racing Australia car 888 sliding around a lot. So you'll try and trim a little bit of that with the anti-roll bar controls. It's influenced by fuel load and indeed Fiore off the road. The Dodo entry, you do not want to connect with that marshalling point down there at turn 2. I think it looked worse than it was.
Gee, he did a good job not to get that. He was right out in the grass with no steering or braking when it's like that.
So what's the start here from Whincup? We're going to go back further through the field. Now Whincup was so aggressive straight away around Jason Bright at turn 1. He almost decided to go around Mark Winterbottom, and before you knew it, Jamie Whincup had gone from 5th to 2nd by the time they got down to turn 3. An extraordinary start from the reigning series champ.
That's the move. That's Whincup getting by Lowndes. Very good move.
I wonder wonder whether they just started with fractionally high. Oh, there's Dean's big moment at turn 1. That's a tank slapper. He's grabbed it, straightened it up. And then that marshalling point over there at turn 2 gets your attention. He's managed to get the pace out of it and get it back online. Scary moment. So 0.7 of a second is the gap. I wonder whether Whincup just started with a fraction more pressure because he was down the order slightly in qualifying so that he could be racy. Whatever. He's in the lead at the moment. He's got a handy margin.
Yeah, it's 0.6 of a second over Mark Winterbottom. This thrilling title battle is on the line here at Phillip Island.
And we're on board with the fastest car on the road. Mark Winterbottom, a 33.08 last time around. And it's his great rival, Jamie Whincup, that leads the way. Final race of the weekend. In 2 weeks' time, just 2 races left on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. It will be a street fight. It will go to the wire. Remember, there's 100 points for the win in this race. And Whincup has stamped his authority. Winterbottom won Bathurst, but he might just have the last say. But here, Winterbottom is feathering the throttle, trying to get it through this run up to Lukey Heights, the long, loping left-hander that's blind. Drop over the top, down to MG Corner. Some of the best-known names in Aussie and World Motorsport. And then it's this long, winding double left run onto the Gardner Straight, named in honour of the 87 500cc World Motorcycle Champion who won the first 2 MotoGP races here in 88, in 89 and 90, I should say. That gives you a great shot of the field. There's the 2 Norton Nissans. Rick Kelly's right with them, so they're 10th, 11th and 12th, and there's Todd Kelly in 16th. So the Ultimas have moved forward in this one. Whincup, new fastest lap, 32.87. Just starting to stretch his legs, and you'll see some revised signage on those Nissans this weekend. Ultima on the windscreen banners of the Norton cars. The road-going version of that car launched on the Australian market next week. Will be on sale to the public. So a little bit of reverse engineering with the race car appearing before the road car, but Kelly here chasing Russell Ingall. That's Gartander wide, back in 14th spot. We're on lap 6 at Phillip Island, 23 lap final race of the weekend, and it is Whincup who leads the way. Winterbottom chasing. Lowndes is next from Brighton Van Gisbergen.
The sun shining here at Phillip Island. It's getting quite warm, actually, and just saw Russell Ingall there, so he's in 15th after starting from 20th. Some big movers and shakers. The biggest, of course, Whincup, making up 4 spots from the start in the first lap. First couple of laps. Has the lead of the race by 1.2 seconds. In fact, his last lap was the quickest at 1:32.8.
Expect Tony D'Alberto in this lap as well. They've got an overheating problem, I think, with that car at the moment. The high flex entry is 26th on the computer at the moment, last in the field as we join Scott McLaughlin. Remember the down to 1 car in the Jiu-Jitsu Gary Rogers Motorsport entry today because of the damage yesterday with Alex Premer's car. Let's have a look at this and stay on board for a wild 4.5K run around Phillip Island with Scotty McLaughlin.
Scott McLaughlin was attacked at MG by Tim Blanchard. Blanchard then was on the wrong side for the following corner. David Wall has then gone by. Jonathan Webb has bought into this. So's Lee Holdsworth. 3 abreast at the end of the straight. This is going to be battling to get round there at that. And Webb runs wide. He was just caught. Well, he didn't realise and wouldn't have known that Holdsworth was also down the inside. So he would have thought at that stage that it was just 2 abreast. There was no road there for the 3 of them. And this was the shot we had on board with Scott the previous lap.
And in the peripheral view of the camera, we saw the nose of the Ford just kind of ranging up like he's being attacked. You could tell that he had a battle on his hands. What was interesting on that lap was how many times he had to go back to first gear. Did it at turn 4, did it down there in turn 10 at MG. Look at this, 3 wide through turn 1, and wisely in the Darrell Lee Chocolates entry, Jonathan Webb just rolled out of the throttle and guide the thing back onto the road, because you can get in a whole heap of trouble down there by staying on it and running wide.
So Lowndes has made some progress. We heard him say to Jeremy Moore earlier, it'll come to us, which meant that the rear of the car was going to get better as the race wore on. And the example now is being shown demonstrably with this gap coming back.
15 laps to go, mate.
Winterbottom to Lowndes, very close. Bars and bars, keep the pressure up.
Jeremy encouraging Craig to make sure that he thinks about trimming the car. He can change the roll stiffness of the front and the rear of the car with the anti-roll bars. And the brake bias is just about controlling the percentage of brake front versus rear. And there's 4th place Jason Bright, 5th Van Gisbergen, 6th Will Davison, then Coulthard, Reynolds, Mostert, Moffat in the 10, Caruso 11, Rick Kelly. So there are 3 of the Nissans, 10, 11 and 12, those new Altimas. Davison, Tander, Ingle is 15th. Murrow Ingle there is 24th.
It's been another tough weekend for Erebus Motorsport, the former Stone Brothers racing squad that swapped from Fords to customer Mercedes-Benz E63 AMGs, back aboard with Lowndes as he continues this fight with Mark Winterbottom. So the cream has risen to the top in this penultimate event of the championship. The contenders are all at the front. The top 4 in points are in the top 6 on the road. In fact, top 5 in points are in the top 7 when you consider that Fabian Coulthard is 7th at the moment. This is Alex Davison, podium yesterday in the Gelbwin Ford. Some question marks over his future. Not sure if he'll be in this car or perhaps will be retained. Wait and see. But Tander, we know, is in that spot. He's through to 13th. The winner yesterday, Tony D'Alberto, just rejoining in the background. He's down 2 or nearly 3 laps after that car was reportedly running quite hot. So he's had a tough run. Good run on the Gold Coast, but some tough enduros in the High-Flex Commodore. New fastest lap from Jason Bright that time. 32.8 for the BOC Commodore in his 200th championship event start. Just the 9th man in series history to rack up that stat. Debuted back at Simmons Plains in 1997 with Gary Rogers' team as a fill-in that weekend, actually, for Stephen Richards, who had a clash with Super Touring that weekend, but full-time since 98 and just missed the 1 year when he was racing Indy Lights in the States. But his teammate here, Fabian Coulthard, right with Will Davison, Reynolds and Mostert behind. Moffat rounds out the 10. We're approaching half-race distance in this final race of the weekend, and it's turned into a bit of an arm wrestle. Whincup has the margin. Mostert trying to make a move here on David Reynolds. So even though this guy's not fighting for the championship, they are fighting for all sorts of road here at the island.
Approaching the halfway mark of the final race of the Sargent Security Phillip Island 360. Our Mega Wall's got it covered. As Ford Performance Racing watch on nervously. It's James Small in the foreground. Mark Winterbottom's engineer. He's got the boss hanging over. So Winterbottom is 1.5 seconds back from Whincup. The fastest lap of the race now belongs to Jason Bright, who's just done a 1:32.80, and we're riding with Chaz Mostert, who has David Reynolds in front of him. They've been getting close, and Lee Holdsworth parked
with a wheel off, so I can hear him on the radio. That'll be a safety car. And I heard Lee say we've got a wheel off. They said try and get it back if you can, which there we go. There's the replay. Oh, and that's grabbed Jonathan Webb So there'll be big damage there. Oh, my goodness. You hold your breath when you see this stuff. It's always the fear. There's about 20 kilos and a lot of energy there.
So the Pettis safety car heads out, condenses the field. So we'll grab a quick break, bring you back.
So on the safety car here at Phillip Island, the shot there of Red Bull Racing Australia, Jeremy Moore to the left. You'll hear Craig Lenz
Out now, just 60 kilometres an hour.
talk to him during the races and call him JJ. That's Jeremy to the left, Mark Dutton to the right. So Lee Holdsworth out of the race. The yellow Mercedes with a lost wheel. Pettis STP safety car is just making its way out of pit exit. This is from the footwell of Will Davison's car. It's a great shot. Gives you the full view of the cockpit, and this is over his shoulder. He's position 6 in car 6, and he's just gone by Lee Holdsworth's stricken Irwin number 4 car. We're on lap 11, so just about halfway in the final race of the weekend. D'Alberto back in the lane, Holdsworth stuck on the track, so we're down to 24 cars, considering that we had 2 that didn't start, obviously damaged yesterday in Alex Prema and James Courtney.
You've got the leader approaching now.
That's Tim Schenken, race director, former Formula 1 and Ferrari sports car driver. He's been in that role for quite some years. And the voice here on the radio from the safety car is Sarah Schofield in the passenger seat of that Chrysler right there, which is down at Southern Loop at the moment. So Whincup is the leader, Winterbottom next. Safety car closes up the field. Lowndes, Bright, Van Gisbergen, Will Davison, Coulthard, Reynolds, Mostert and Moffat. Behind, Caruso, Rick Kelly, Tander, Alex Davison, Todd Kelly, McLaughlin, Ingle, Wall, Blanchard, Pye from pit lane is 20th, Webb, Slade and Engel 23rd. Dean Fiore is now in the lane in the Dodo Commodore. Has had a pretty tough race in race 34.
So the Pettis STP's safety car has the field at bay as car number 4, the Irwin Mercedes, is removed from the circuit. Barretts, what do you got?
Just with Ross Stone down the Erebus garage, and Ross, it's been a tough weekend. That's the last thing you needed, was to lose a wheel for Lee.
Yeah, that's a tough weekend is a bit of an understatement. We thought our cars would be pretty good here, and just, you know, one thing led to another, and we just haven't got it together really how we were hoping, and sometimes that happens, so we just got to finish off today and regroup for Sydney.
Looking forward to that, getting to the Sydney 500 in the Olympic Park streets.
Yeah, looking forward to that race meeting and what follows that race meeting, having a bit of a break at Christmas and regrouping and going again next year.
Good on you, Ross. Thank you.
Cheers.
So it's quite a process now to try and get that car up on the flatbed truck, and a quick shout out to all of the marshals who do all the great work for us, all the sector marshals and the intervention guys and those that are on flags. One of the interesting things from the previous race, after safety car intervention, Scapey, looking at the lap-by-lap post-race and talking to several teams, the tyres got a new lease of life. So, for example, the string of laps that Lowndes did in the back end of the race were extraordinary. He did the fastest lap of the race, 2 from the end of the event. And the fastest lap so far belongs to Jason Bright in this race, a 32.8. Lowndes did a 32.4 in the previous race to be the quickest man. There is Jason Bright on screen. So just let's monitor that now in the restart and see what the tyre behaviour is like and how it affects the lead runners.
Exactly. This is going to work towards Mark Winterbottom, because this will give those tyres a little break, and he was the one that was going backwards in the top 3. The top 4 cars, the guys that you just referred to, and Bright being the fastest of those 4, there's 0.14 of a second between them in terms of their fastest laps. So this is a very close field now brought together.
And watch for how everybody works their tyres and brakes to try and make sure that they've got all the temp and pressure there to make the most effective restart. Larko?
Yeah, just a couple of quick tidy up things. Firstly, Tony D'Alberto, he's back in the pit lane. They've got electrical dramas. Bit of really quite sad. I like Tony, lovely bloke. Fast when the car's good. Haven't got it quite there. John Evans, we know you're laid up a little bit crook at the moment. Now, best wishes from the pit lane. You're very much part of the motorsport family in the community. Well loved, Journo. Get well soon, buddy. Now, a quick word with Tim Edwards. Tim, this is possibly your best opportunity right here, right now, mate, on this restart. How do we approach this?
You're asking me?
Come on, mate, you give him advice.
Look, I mean, Mark's going to try and win the race. That's all we can do. You know, we're 100 or so points behind. It's win or bust for us, so he'll be going for it. He'll be trying to pass Jamie on the first lap of the restart. That's what he's got to do.
We heard, lots of chats to him this weekend. The signs are there. He's give him his credit. He's having a red-hot crack this end of the year, isn't he? Better than I've ever seen.
Oh, look, it's all we can do. You know, we're the ones that are chasing, so we've got to, we're going to go faster than those guys. So, and he's got the bit between his teeth. And I think what happened last night and this morning just wound him up even more. So he's even more determined to win.
All right, mate. Good luck. We'll watch this restart.
Thanks, mate.
Well done, Larko. Now, shout out to John Evans also. We saw that wheel come off, and fortunately we've checked with the marshals in that sector, and no one was hurt, no one was hit, and it was a minor bit of damage to a couple of parked cars that were over the right-hand side of Lukey Heights. So fortunately, no injuries.
But you can see where that wheel that got away from Lee Holdsworth's car has managed to clobber this car, Jonathan Webb's Darrell Lee entry, and they've tried to patch it up. The stone's flicking out at the moment. I think he might have fallen off the road, Brett.
Yeah. Guys, you mentioned earlier Craig Lowndes' tyres coming back on, and Jeremy Morey's engineer, that's been part of your strategy for Craig, is to try and be fast at the end of the race.
Absolutely. We're a bit on edge last race, so we just tuned it a little bit up for the end of the race. So hopefully we can go green soon enough, and we'll have a long stint to the end, and Craig should come on strong.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks, mate.
In the gap between the Gold Coast and here, the boys at Ford Performance Racing did a drive day at the old Lakeside Raceway, Scapie, and they absolutely loved it. It was a place that we used to love going to. Frosty's been to the States since we saw him on the Gold Coast. A couple of the boys went over there as well. Tim Slade, James Moffat, Jack Perkins went over to watch a NASCAR race. And Brad Jones Racing took the opportunity to test, but it was wet. Didn't help their cause, unfortunately. There's the Stricken Irwin Tools entry on the way back with that missing left front wheel. So good news is that it's gone and found its way into the back of the car park and cleared all the spectators.
And it's not like this is a rest period for the guys. If you put yourself in their shoes right now, when the safety car period is on, you have to organise yourself to be in the best position, not just with the other cars that are around you, but also just making sure. That's why all the work is going on for tyre condition, making sure you don't run over debris on the road, get the front tyre especially up, make sure that when you start this race that the car is as good, the tyre quality, the brake quality, overall package is as good as it can possibly be, and then get into the technique and the science of making sure that you're as close as you can possibly be to the car in front.
Safety car received. We will reduce speed to 80 at turn 4.
By the way, Craig Lowndes teamed up with Lee Kernigan to raise money for bushfire victims as well. Lee's a good mate. You see him from time to time at V8 supercar races, and so those guys are doing their bit to help some people that have been down on their luck in the recent past.
So he's got a job to do. Mark Winterbottom, we've heard from Tim Edwards. They know they've got to win the race. They know that they've got to come out of here with a minimal gap in terms of championship points versus Whincup and Lowndes. 3 of the 4 contenders for the championship are the top 3 cars.
Don't forget 2 weekends' time, the Sydney 500. Races 35 and 36 around the concrete-lined streets of Sydney Olympic Park. It's turned out to be a classic grand finale venue. If you can get there, do so. Go to v8supercars.com.au and grab your tickets. Otherwise, of course, you'll see it all here on 7.
That overhead shot that we had of Craig Lowndes there, you can see his left foot dragging on the brake, and clearly you can see his hands working the wheel as well, dragging the brake to make the temp, radiates into the rim, into the carcass of the tyre, keeps the pressure up, keeps the temp up. I don't think he's doing it now. He's actually put it back over on the dead pedal on the left side, but he was working it pretty vigorously there before.
So the question is, boys, who's going to win it? Whincup, Winterbottom or Lowndes? We're going to do it out of the top 3, not necessarily saying that they're the contenders, or they're the only ones that can win, but out of those 3, Scapie, who's your pick?
Well, I think Winterbottom can win this.
Hang on.
See, I'll tell you when we get to the end of the 100th kilometre.
Oh, how's your splinters going?
Be a champion at the Melbourne Cup, wouldn't he?
You wouldn't want to sit on the fence at all, would you?
It's too hard to call.
Restart.
Oh,
Whincup, Winterbottom and Lowndes. And an angry pack chasing them, including Fabian Coulthard, who arrives over the top of the hill on the inside and goes scooting into position number 4.
that is a good move. Very bold manoeuvre.
And was position 4 that he started the race, lost a bunch of ground in the previous start, the standing start, he went backwards. So he's wound himself into a frenzy. And look at this, speaking of winding into a frenzy, you've got Reynolds on the outside of Mostert here.
Oh, and down the inside, Moffat. Gee, I thought he was going to dive down the inside. He's got him. They've all made contact. That was clumsy.
There'll be
contact.
Oh,
Ingle straight into the side of Mostert. That'll be a safety car again. Oh, he's got it going. He's got it moving. That was messy. Dave Reynolds and Mostert had that going for a long time.
And it has been going for quite a few laps. They've been joined together. There's been a bit of push and shove. That one started on the exit of turn 2 and it finished with damage for quite a few cars at turn 4. Safety car.
And I think he got a whack from behind. I think Mostert got a helping hand from behind there. So the safety car intervenes once again. The Petters STP Chrysler will head out. Field will compress. The big beneficiary was Coulthard.
And a gutsy move, and what a pity. Innocent bystander. The enforcer did not deserve that.
So just when you thought that the drama was over, it ain't. Chaz Mostert's out of the race. This is his first retirement since joining the championship at Barbie Gallo when he made his debut on board the number 12 Dick Johnson team car. So that's 25 races. Of course, he had a win at Queensland Raceway, but his day's done. And Russell Ingall at least has got a drivable car, but it's had a rearrangement to the front end, and he'll limp it back to the lane, and they'll see what they can do. Speed limit zone starts right there, 40 kilometres per hour. And Russell's unplugging, so he would appear to be giving it away. There's only 8 laps to go. He's got a busted car. Probably a sense of humour failure too, I think. So he's back to the lane. 21 cars still out there. Webb's in the pit lane. D'Alberto still shown as being in the pit bay as well.
Shut it off. Jack it up, and 2 go jacks under the rear.
Wrong place, wrong time for the 2005 V8 Supercar champion, who has one more event to go as a full-time driver. He's had more championship event starts than anyone else. He broke the record of John Bowe this year, Townsville. But that's day done, and the Highflex team and the Super Cheap team share a pit boom. That's why you can see the Highflex mechanics right there. It's under investigation, that contact between Chaz Mostert and David Reynolds. That's what started all of that. Ingall was further back in the queue and came around on the corner and found himself with nowhere to go. So we're left with another bunch up, another safety car, another opportunity for Winterbottom to have a crack at Whincup. There's a few points to be had. The difference between first and second is 8 points, 192. So it's worth chasing. It won't get Winterbottom the title lead, but just files away a few more. He needs to get as many as he can before we go to Sydney. And there's still 300 on the table. The light's still on the safety car. When they go out, that's the indication that we'll get a restart that time by. So there is the order. Whincup, Winterbottom, Lowndes, Bright, Coulthard, Gisberg, Davison, Moffat and Caruso and Kelly. 8, 9, 10. The Nissans are in there. Alex Davison's just outside. Reynolds, as a result of that contacts, dropped back to 12th. Todd Kelly, Scott McLaughlin's had a really tough weekend. Fujitsu lost a car yesterday. They haven't had any pace in car 33. Tim Blanchard next from Tander, Pye, Wall, Engel, Slade and Fiore. Engel out, Mostert out, Webb in the pits, D'Alberto in the pits and Holdsworth out as well. So we've been chewing through some cars this weekend. Haven't got long before they get home and need to turn around and then head to the streets of Sydney Olympic Park for the final. So drivers weaving, trying to keep some temperature and pressure in that Dunlop control tyre. Of course, the hard compound tyre used this weekend, given the high-speed nature of this Phillip Island circuit. There's Scott Pye. Remember, he started from pit lane. He's now in position 17. He's had a few drop out, but he's been able to work his way up the order a little bit. So it's lap 17. There's 7 left to complete. Restart won't be too far away. And it will be on again between the great rivals, Whincup and Winterbottom. Whincup, the 4-time champ. Winterbottom yet to win, but this year's Bathurst winner. Lap 17, restart not far away.
Now this circuit rewards the brave. And this is this replay of Captain Courageous down at turn 1, Fabian Coulthard. Wow, what a move. That put him into 4th, but this circuit's also a car killer. And this one was brewing back at turn 2 between Reynolds and Chaz Mostert. And the 2 Norton Hornets caught up in it as well. James Moffat was having a look on the inside there, so there was contact all around. And it was only a matter of time before somebody arrived on the scene with nowhere to go. Garth Tander managed to lock it up and lock it up and lock it up, but he was never going to miss the rear of car number 12. And then Russell Ingall, the Super Cheap Auto Commodore, comes into play and sees nothing but a T-bone waiting. Crunch. Boy, there's been some damage this weekend. So this is on board with Reynolds. The initial contact. Davis drives away from the scene, and behind him it all went downhill from there. So in terms of racing and in terms of the championship, of course, what it's done is given us this another critical restart. We asked you, who do you reckon's going to win out of these top 3? If it is to be one of them, and you're leaning towards Craig Lowndes. So off we go again.
The intensity at the start of this, Matt, is as good as it gets. Restart here is the vital part of concluding this race for the weekend. And a good run by Winterbottom. He's got a little toe.
So there's only 6 laps to complete. Winterbottom dicing left and right, trying to put pressure on Whincup.
And Van Gisbergen got a spot back from Coulthard again then on the restart. So that little Kiwi battle has continued. Look at this.
Well, Tim Edwards made it clear that they've sent Mark Winterbottom out there with the message to win this race. It's all or nothing. They know they can't go to Sydney that far back in the point score.
Have a dive. He was close enough then, but Jamie covered. He just ran it around turn 3 and just run it wide. So Lowndes now buys in.
Frosty didn't get tucked back into the apex at turn 4, and Lowndes wasn't terribly far behind. Jamie just looks like he's got a bit more of a battle on his hands to place his car too at the moment.
So the next spot's MG. So this is the little kink before the Hayshed. And up over Lukey Heights and into MG. Now it'll be interesting here with the Whincup has got enough gap that he doesn't have to cover. Now he's run it straight down there to block. So he did that twice now. He's run it out, offline, run down the inside, clearly indicate that you're not going to leave the door open. So Winterbottom's going to have to force him into making a mistake, and this is a good run at turn 11.
Pretty much equal through the final corner for both of them then. 4th gear. Jamie used all of the space on the exit. Kept it straight. Lowndes is taking the ideal approach line. He's got a little bit of margin to play with at the moment. Bright's next in the queue. Whincup used lots of exit space there. He looked a bit vulnerable, so his car is moving around in this restart.
Got him.
Now, if it jumps wide like that, he'll be vulnerable down here into turn 4 under brakes. Depends on the run that Winterbottom gets through the next very quick left-hander at 3. It's not quite close enough at the moment.
There was a little mistake then. That was Whincup running wide. Looked like he was going to get down there, and he looked like he locked the wheel then on the way in.
Locked the rears. They're all maxed out at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's clear that car number 1 isn't behaving as well as Jamie would like it at this stage of the race. Think of all that history between these 2 guys. Whincup knows he can effectively shut the door on Mark Winterbottom's championship chase, or make it so incredibly hard at the Sydney 500 if he can hold his position.
Bright staying in this. Will Davison was having a nibble at Van Gisbergen then too.
He was in the background. Mark Winterbottom has got to keep the mid-corner speed up. The two places that he's got to be better is Lukey Heights and through turn 2 at Southern Loop.
That's a pretty spirited battle there. You got James Moffat and Michael Caruso in there. Remember, there was gearbox and engine changes there for the Nissan Hornets. Look at this, Will side by side with James. James has got the ideal line when they get down the bottom here. Here comes Van Gisbergen down the inside and the shallow line. Oh, 3 cars wide into 1.
That was brave by Will Davison.
Off the road for Van Gisbergen. Now he's got to get back on somehow. And does, but lost a bunch of spots in the process.
Garth Tander was 3 abreast into turn 2. Then I don't know how that happened.
At the front of the field, Jamie Whincup has responded with the fastest lap of the race, 1:32.52, and he's backed it up with the fastest first sector time on this lap.
Didn't look convincing on Kohler tyres, did it right at the start, but now he's got the thing back where he wants it. Lowndes now looking down the inside. Mind you, he always turns in pretty shallow there. It's kind of the nature of the way he attacks that turn down at 6 at Siberia.
Now, conversely, Lowndes' mid-corner speed is very good. And you watch here, he's able to get it in on the front wheel, holds the line very well there, and you can see the mid-corner speed that he's got over Winterbottom. So he'll put a huge amount of pressure on Mark in those 2 positions, turn 2 and over the top of the hill at turn 9.
Van Gisbergen, by the way, went back to 13th in all that we saw before, a little tour off the road down at turn 1.
Whincup's car settled down on him because he's a chance here of bettering his own fastest lap time. He's done it.
Yes.
In fact, he's done a lap record, 1:32.02.
It's fast. But it shows. I mean, that's the intensity. At the end of the day, you've got to be fast. That's the fastest lap of the weekend, and he has now got a 0.75 gap.
Well, the top 4 went across the line there under the previous lap record time, but the quickest, of course, is Whincup, so that's how he responds. What a fight this is. Mark Winterbottom has been so ultra-aggressive in his fight for this championship. He put together one of the all-time great drives to take the Peter Brock Trophy at Mount Panorama with Stephen Richards, but he does not want to let this title fight go, and he's fighting Red Bull Racing Australia both ways here. Whincup in front of him, Lowndes behind him.
This is a classic Ford and Holden battle with the very best operators at one of the most difficult racetracks. The fastest, flowing, most committed. This is Lukey Heights, over the hill, and then down into MG. Lowndes, huge amount of curb that he uses there. Change of direction, very important run out of here. Lowndes was quite good here earlier. But this is the spot yesterday that Mark Winterbottom was down the inside of Lowndes. They made contact. Had stewards' inquiries. We've had drama attached to the contact that was made. And with a couple of laps to go, Lowndes now will be putting as much pressure as he can possibly exert on Mark Winterbottom.
2 fastest guys on that lap were in 4th and 5th placings, and that's Jason Bright and Fabian Coulthard. They were quicker than the leaders. There's Bright, car 8. He's actually within striking distance now of Lowndes, isn't he? So Craig's really got it going in both directions. Not only is he trying to gnaw away on the back of Winterbottom's car, but he cannot afford a slip because Bright's there to pounce.
See that line that Craig used? He turns in everywhere very early. We'll watch this again into Siberia. You watch the difference between that line, that early turn-in line, and Mark Winterbottom. Winterbottom, therefore, has less turning to do later, so his exit is better. Whincup has been super fast this last sector of the race.
Let's not forget there's still 300 championship points on offer in a couple of weekends at the Sydney 500.
Lowndes was cheeky, then he showed Mark Winterbottom the front of the car. He looked like he was going to have a little lunge, and it made Mark Winterbottom change his line in the braking area. When he changed his line in the braking area, he battled to make the turn in for the very tight and slowest corner on the track at MG. Off the road! I think he's popped a tyre there or something, because that's very unusual to go off the road at that spot.
From 7th position, and I was just about to make the remark that lost the steering. So they did an engine change on this car prior to the race. So it could trace back to having to scramble that work between races. What a shame. We were about to show you the fact that Caruso and his teammate are doing very, very well. Moffat now moves to 7th. Rick Kelly jumps up to 8th.
How about Scott Pye up to 14th from the pit lane? Very good drive.
So Whincup, Winterbottom, Lowndes, Bright, Coulthard, Will Davison, James Moffat, Rick Kelly, Jack Daniels entry in 8th, then Alex Davison and Scott McLaughlin 10. Here we are back on board with Lowndes. Remember, he's got Bright right behind, and you'll see glimpses of him. In fact, if you look in the rear view mirror now,
yes,
you can just see the front of Jason Bright's car, which he's well aware of.
Jamie Whincup hasn't won a race
in the background. He did it. Oh, he did it again. Sorry, Matty. He looked like he was going to have a dive.
Just about to say that Jamie hasn't won a race here since 2009. And just like the previous one of his teammate, this one is as important as any that he's notched up this year. 10 race wins for the season. And the series fight is going to the Sydney 500.
Mark Dutton there, just in absolute exhilaration with the rest of the team. What a fantastic job for Whincup to win at a place like this, and for the championship to be alive.
Winterbottom second by 0.8 of a second. Craig Lowndes third. So the top 3 in the championship will all be on the podium. Talk about responding when you need to. Everybody in their own separate way managed to step up at various times. And that's Jamie's first win since Sandown. Of course, he was on the podium at Bathurst, didn't have a good weekend on the Gold Coast. Comes here 6 points adrift in terms of the championship fight, but he'll go to Sydney about 20 points ahead.
I thought the opening laps in this race were really high quality.
Outstanding.
All of those key runners were really at the very peak of their game. It was very impressive to watch. Their cold tyre runs, their starts, their restarts, all that stuff was really cool.
Yeah, we saw a lot of biffing and barging, a lot of crash and bash yesterday, but today, those first 5 or 6 laps and each of the restarts, the racing quality and the driving performance by those top 10 guys especially, world class.
And it's hard to accurately describe what it's like to go out there on cold tyres and do that at a restart.
He marked up and trying to get him back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially doesn't want to overheat the engine either.
Right. All right, Jamie, you've had your fun. Bring it back.
But don't you think there's a couple of really telling things out of today? The performance by Lowndes in the previous race was a really high-quality drive and a 16-point pass that he put on his teammate. At the end of this race, he had to do the fastest lap we've ever had at this place to get away with this win. He had to go and beat them for pace. He had to go and get a gap. It was unbelievable.
And those guys smartened their cars up over the weekend, particularly Whincup. Didn't look that flash yesterday, but incrementally gained along the way. And at the end of this race, they looked pretty good, didn't they?
Absolutely. He drove very well also. It's been a very good performance.
Keep in mind, he's only 0.8 of a second behind at the end of it.
Very high-level driving. Interesting to see what the response is here with the two of them after all the drama from yesterday and the stewards' hearings earlier on.
Day of gutsy driving as well. This new surface on the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit has led to some pretty intense racing. A few DNFs to throw in today. Michael Caruso, Chaz Mostert, that's Chaz's first of the season. Russell Ingall, Jono Webb, that's also Jono's first DNF. Tony D'Alberto and Lee Holdsworth. There's quite a few damage to left behind. A bit of a more subdued celebration than I think I was expecting, but I reckon he got it all out in the burnout stakes.
That's right, but I think it's put it into perspective because he knows there's still a job to do. Sydney 500 will determine our winner for 2013. Amazing stuff. Not too much joint celebration between them. That shows the intensity.
Well, what a weekend for Jamie Whincup, an incredible performance. Jamie, this championship is going to go right down to the wire at the Sydney 500. You've bought a little bit of breathing space, 20 points, but it's not over, mate.
No, that's certainly not breathing space. We really struggled for pace this weekend, and congratulations to the engineers. They really made my car extremely quick for that last one. It was an awesome battle with Mark and Lownsy. But big thanks to all my family that come out this weekend. Big thanks to everyone that come out, actually. Crazy weekend. I think it's a bit of a preview for what's to come at Sydney.
A sweet win. Well done, Jamie. Congratulations.
Yes.
Mark Winterbottom, wow, kept them honest all the way. Amazing to see the three guys who are still in this championship slugging it out at Phillip Island. This has been pretty incredible.
It's been an incredible weekend, hasn't it? But look, the car was very good in quali. Took a long time to get going, and that's just when I thought it'd come on, the safety car come out. So anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, ironic, the three cars fighting for it, and Will was not too far back either. Sydney's still on, so that's what you want. You want to come down to the wire, and hopefully these two fight each other and they'll just sneak on through.
A la Stephen Bradbury. You're 120 points behind them at the moment, so it's still very possible. Frosty, all the very best. Well done here.
How relaxed do we look standing on this pole? It's a beautiful thing to lean on, isn't it?
You enjoyed. We'll see you for one for the Sydney 500. Craig Lowndes, congratulations. Still in there, 20 points off the lead in this championship behind your teammate. This is very much alive for Sydney 500.
Oh, look, it was always going to come down to Sydney. I think that regardless of the outcome, which I would have been nice to be 20 points in front, but now chasing Jamie, it'll be a tough battle, but it was always going to be a tough battle. Jamie had a really good car that race. We just didn't quite have the pace to match, but we give Frosty a bit of a hurry up at times. I think our car was better over a longer distance, so if we didn't have that safety car, it might have been a little bit different. But look, that's the brakes, and we'll move on.
Yeah, it's very winnable though from here. Lownsy, do your thing.
Yeah, hello Levine Chili at home, and yes, it is on. It's on Sydney.
Good on you. See you at the podium.
Good on you, Lownsy. Hey, this guy here, tough competitor, been around a long time, takes a lot to knock the wind out of his sails, but I can tell, mate, you are genuinely dejected.
Yeah, there's a few other words for it, but we're on live TV, are we? Yeah, we are. Okay, I better refrain. I'll wait till then when I talk to Julia. I'll give her the full debrief. But yeah, look, we shouldn't be back there, mate. And it's disappointing. Just because it's potentially my last few rounds. I don't give up. I'm fighting harder now than I did. When I first started racing this category, it's just annoying. We shouldn't be back there. I haven't forgotten how to drive, and it just annoys me. And unfortunately, when you're in the midfield like that, things like that happen. No one's fault. Just that's life. I got away with it with 3 starts, and didn't get the 4th one, And
I've got to ask you, mate, because we have picked up a few times this year. You've been seriously competitive, and I reckon it's gone through your mind a couple of times that, gee, have I made the right decision here? Is there still a little bit left?
Well, I'll tell you, look through the books and where I've been competitive street circuits. Haven't finished out top 5 in all 3 street circuits. That's because you can manhandle an average car. You can manhandle, and street circuits are about drivers. Simple as that. If you're a good driver, you'll get up the front. Haven't finished out the top 5, finished on the podium at the Gold Coast race. These sort of tracks, you can't fake it. If you haven't got the car under you, you can't manhandle it. It just doesn't fly, simple as that. So, that's disappointing, but, I wanted to go out better than this, and if this is going to be my last race, it's just bloody annoying. But anyway,
I'll keep your chin up, mate, because on all that street circuit chat, we're just going to say one thing, mate. Roll on, Sydney. Looking forward to it.
Sydney's going to be big. Watch this space.
Good on you, buddy. Thank you.
Well, Russell, you deserve to go out better than that at this circuit, obviously, and we look forward to seeing you at the Sydney 500. There's your results. Jason Brighton, Fabian Coulthard 4th and 5th. Will Davison inside the top 10. James Moffat leading home the Nissan Altimas. And like I said, there was quite a few DNFs headlined by Michael Caruso and also Lee Holdsworth for Erebus Motorsport. Time for the podium, Bretts.
34th race of the year, the V8 Supercars, Sargent Security, Phillip Island 360. Would you please congratulate our first place driver for Red Bull Racing Australia, Jamie Whincup. In second place for Ford Pepsi Max crew, Mark Winterbottom. And in third place for Red Bull Racing Australia, Craig Lowndes. Representing our winning team, Red Bull Racing Australia, is Ludo Lacroix. Making the presentation of the third place trophy is Paul Morris, brand ambassador for Sargent Security. To present to second place, Fergus Cameron, the managing director, Phillip Island Grand Prix Circuit. Making the presentation to our winning team is V8 Supercars Operations Manager for Dunlop, Kevin Fitzsimmons. And finally presenting the first place trophy, Peter Harris, the General Manager, naming rights sponsor, Sargent Security. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2013 V8 Supercars, Sargent Security, Phillip Island 360, race 34 winners.
So that means 2 races to go in season 2013, and this is what they'll take into the Sydney 500. Craig Lowndes, 20 points back. Mark Winterbottom, 124 back. Mathematically, Will Davison is in it because there will be 300 points on the table at the Sydney 500. Jamie Whincup gets his 10th race win of the year, the 74th of his career, and perhaps the clincher to a 5th V8 Supercars championship title.